All right, so today we're going to be talking about things such as the weather. We have something that's changing next week. You have to know about this. Also, there's some poisonous animals in the area that are going to affect your furry friends. Got to discuss that. The market and what it's really doing in our area. I really don't care what the rest of the nation's doing because it doesn't affect us locally. Be sure you know where you're getting your information from. And if you're even entertaining new construction, you've got to listen to what I've got to say about these builders, how they're running their businesses, and things you need to be aware of if you want to be represented properly. So we're going to be talking about moving to Florida, and don't believe everything you hear. We're getting after that next. Hey everybody, my name is Craig Cunha. I am a real estate agent here in Southwest Florida. If you're looking for a channel to tell you a little bit more about what it's like to live, play, eat, sleep, and buy real estate on the Gulf Coast, this is the channel for you. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the little bell, make sure you're notified every time, and go ahead and get on our website, start searching the MLS through our system the way we do as agents by going to ournextfloridahome.com, and you can get started right there. I'm getting calls from people every day, and I absolutely love it. New scenarios, new situations, things I get to talk out with people every single day. So if you've got a question or situation that you need an answer to, you've got to call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast. Okay, so I'm a little bit amped up about this topic I'm going to start with. I had to jump back in here to record another segment because there are so many people looking for new construction right now. This week, I was surprised by 3 different couples that came in town that are looking at new construction, and each of them had a different experience because of the builder. Then there's a 4th one that's in the process of building that is just in a world of trouble with it. So I want to talk about new construction. If you're interested in new construction, pay close attention to what I'm going to tell you. So first things first, if you're coming into an area, do like you always do, drive the areas, see what they're like. Some builders will sell their home with a lot. Others want you to have the lot and they'll build on it. You have to figure out which one that is. When you start talking to a builder, if you want buyer representation, you need to tell them at the very beginning that you have an agent that's working for you. If you do not, and you give them your information, some builders will assign an agent to you that you may not want. That's what happened to Steve, and now he's stuck. He can't get out from underneath that representation. He didn't ask for it, he doesn't want it, but he has to take it. Sound fair to you? No. In any case, if you don't have that situation and you register yourself or give your information to the builder and they have a rule that your agent's supposed to be with you or to make first contact, once again, you will not have the representation of your own agent. Now you're going to be stuck with the builder's agent. Once again, these agents are not there for you. They're there for the builder. So what I'm encouraging you to do is if you want representation, either don't give any of your contact info, because they're all going to have details on the homes, the specs, and all that stuff in paper form that you can walk out with. So don't let them tell you they have to email it to you. If that's the case, get your agent on the phone, have them make the contact, get them registered through email, phone call, or heck, if they have to show up at the model, we'll show up at the model. Make sure you get that done right up front if you want representation. Now let's talk about the building process that is totally all over the map right now. We're hearing build times of 16 and 18 months, depending on how custom they build. Others aren't releasing the homes until the roof is put on, and at that point you can take the home over. Some will allow you to put a reservation, small deposit to hold it. So there's a lot of different ways it's going down, but one particular situation that we've run into with Christina and Brian is their home was started or supposed to be started well over a year ago and finished the end of last year. Is it finished? Not even close. We don't even have a slab down yet, and it's been over a year. You can imagine their frustration. They're thinking about trying to possibly find another home to replace it. They really don't want to because they got in at a great time. The pricing's wonderful. It's in a location they wanted. But what do you do when you just can't get your home? I don't know. We're going to see how that one shakes out. I'm also dealing with Jim and Stacy and taking them around and trying to find a good fit for them with the different builders. Each of these builders has different processes, but many of them, again, very easy to work with. They want a buyer's agent to help out because there's a lot of work to be done through this process. Then I had Sean and Sarah surprise me. I helped them buy a lot last year, and now they're ready to build on it. So they told me they were going to a builder, and they wanted me to meet them there to have a sit down and talk. And it was, the builder was good with it. They said, yeah, bring him along. If he's going to represent you, bring him along. So those are the ways that you can do this process. As far as the construction itself, everyone has a different process. A smaller builder could have problems either getting supplies or completing deadlines because they don't get the help of the vendors as much as the bigger guys. Bigger guys give more volume. It's more work. So these different trades will get more money in the long haul going with the bigger builders. So pay attention to how many builds are being done per year, what their finish times actually are. Do they have an escalation clause in their contract? Are you going to pay more money along the way if you go with them? Yeah, you very well may. Some builders have it, some builders don't. Once again, if you have the roof on already, usually there's no escalation because the biggest costs are already there. So anyway, if you know you're going new construction, hopefully this helps you. Hopefully these tips are going to work out for you. And if you have any questions that weren't answered about the new construction, you know what to do. Call, text, or email, and I will absolutely get you any answer that you need. All right, so what's one of the biggest complaints you hear about Florida? Come on. I know it's there. Yeah, it's hot. Oh, it's so miserably hot. It's terribly hot. No, it's not. It was 90-some degrees today, and there was a breeze, and I had a chill in the sun. Wasn't even in the shade. And I'm standing with other clients that are from the north. Didn't see a sweat bead on them. And again, we're in the 90s, high humidity. So it's getting warmer. We're in that time of year. Next week, we have a new event that's going to be, or it's not even a new event, but it's an event that comes every single year that affects us for months. And we're going to discuss that a little bit. But getting back to the heat, there's areas in the country right now experiencing a heat wave. So you're living in a place where you get the crappiest weather throughout the year. So you get snow and you have to shovel. You get a heat wave, so you're probably complaining about the heat there too. And in between, you get a couple nice weeks that you might have some weather that is pleasant. It's usually going to be overcast, that nice gray sky that you have, which makes it kind of gloomy. And I know, yes, the seasons can be beautiful in many areas of the country. I used to live in Pennsylvania. Changing of the leaves, yeah, sure, it's great. But the weather that surrounds all of that, and especially now if they're seeing the kind of heat, record heat throughout the country, I don't know. Is that really such a great place to be anymore for a change of seasons? Something to consider. Florida is not going to be miserably hot all year long. It's going to last for a few months, and then you get the best weather you could ask for. No humidity and 70s and 80s, you can't beat it. That's the weather people look forward to. That's why so many thousands of people flock to Florida during those months from November through April, even into May if it stays nice. Now, a weather tip that was brought up this week by our weatherman, and it's coming up because we're heading into some of our prime boating season, and his reminder was, if you can hear the clap of thunder, you can be struck by lightning. Now, here in Cape Coral, we have lightning alarms. I've talked about this before. People don't believe me or even understand this is a thing, but all of our parks, our public parks, our schools, they all have, even our golf courses, they have these alarms that are sounded whenever there is lightning in the area within a 10-mile radius. There'll be one long horn that will warn you that it's happening, and then 30 minutes later, after the last strike, there's going to be 3 short horns that'll say it's over, you're clear. But pay close attention to this. I don't know how many areas in Southwest Florida truly have this, but I know I have it here because I have a park behind me and a school down the road, and I get to hear it all the time. So they're truly there for our safety. But pay attention to the thunder as your other indicator, especially if you're in a wide open field like these ball fields, or if you're out on the water. If there's nothing taller than you, no kind of structure, you are in a situation where you could be struck by lightning. So play it safe. If you hear that thunder, get somewhere inside. All right, so another thing that's going to happen with this change in weather, we are going to get extra rain, okay? Lots of extra rain. And what that means is there is a poisonous toad that mates during this time of the year. When all this extra moisture comes around, it's a bufo toad. Now, what this toad does that's different than many other toads is it excretes poison. And this is going to potentially kill your furry friend if it gets a hold of this bufo toad. This poison is secreted out of its glands on its skin, so when your dog bites on it or picks it up, it ends up in their mouth. So a couple things that they warn you to do or advise you to do is try to rinse the dog's mouth out, try to wipe it out with a towel, call the vet as soon as you possibly can, and keep the dog's head down as much as you possibly can to keep the saliva running to the front of the mouth instead of back to the throat. That could potentially save your pet's life. Best thing you do, don't let them root around in bushes where these things like to hang out, and just pay attention to what they're getting into, because these toads, I haven't seen one yet, thankfully, and our dog hasn't been affected by it, so another blessing, thank God for that. But just be aware that this does exist, it is a real thing, and we're coming into that prime mating season. Now also with the temperatures, as I mentioned, we're getting in the mid-90s now on a daily basis. With that happening, you have your furry friend again out walking, and the roads are going to heat up. We have different types of roads here. Some of them, like the driveways and sidewalks, can be pavers. Some are going to be concrete, and even the swales that run on either side of a paved road. But all of these will have different temperatures and extremes to the touch. So if you're going to help your pet out, touch the surface they're going to be walking on with your hand, because whatever it feels like on your hand is what it feels like on the pads of their paws. You want to protect your pets? Walk them in the grass on a hot day. Keep them in that concrete swale. That temperature for some reason is much less. Could be the color is lighter. Not sure exactly what it is, but it is going to be much more comfortable on that surface. But pay attention to what the temperatures are doing before you take your furry friend out for a walk. All right, so we're running into our, again, big weather event for the year. Next week starts hurricane season. Yeah, June 1st. This is when storms typically will develop. This is going to run through November 1st. So if you're somebody that gets really anxious or angst about storms and all the hype that comes from the media about this, in fact, they're going to spend an hour next week on the news and the evening news talking about hurricane preparedness. All right, hurricane preparedness, there's not a lot to worry about, not a lot to prepare for, especially when we don't know when the darn thing's coming. You will get notifications when they're coming. You're going to know about a week out if it even has a chance of coming to us. You're going to see the spaghetti plots all over the news. And if it really starts to come our way, you're going to see it hourly on the TV. So a couple things you are going to think about should the storm come. You're going to get some extra water, get a couple cases, and maybe even start stocking it as you go to the store now so that you don't have to go grab it all at once. They will put a ration on how many cases you can take as we get closer. Also, keep things like canned food, any of the things that you need like prescriptions, keep them handy. Maybe at least have enough refills in the prescription to be able to get them filled quickly should you need that. And if you're somebody that really wants to panic about this or really wants to be prepared, you can go and get a generator for the house. Generally, batteries for flashlights, maybe even batteries for a portable fan, things like that that you may end up using should the lights go out. You know, you need that flashlight or a lantern or some candles, something like that. Also, when we talk about shutters, you got two options for how you're going to protect your house. You're going to either have the manual shutters that are the metal planks that go across the windows, wood planks or plywood that you're going to screw to the walls, or you have impact windows. Impact windows are getting very, very popular right now, and the one advantage they have over everything else is the light still comes in. The one thing you probably didn't think about, if you're boarding up your house and you lose power and you've got those panels on your windows, you got no light. It's dark inside. And again, batteries only last so long, so when you burn through those batteries and you still have the panels up waiting to get through that storm, you could be in darkness. So prepare ahead. All right, so it's that time. We're going to talk about the market because there are so many stories, so many headlines, lots of media spin on what it's doing, where it's going south. Oh, the pending sales are down. Yeah, it's a national report. So if you want to take every single market and talk about where the pending sales are going, well, of course they're going to go down because you've raised the interest rates. So there's going to be less purchasing right now. I'm even seeing a larger amount of inventory homes coming from builders, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But with the markets and the market reports that you're getting, pay attention to the local market that you're trying to get information on, and not so much the national news. National news is built for hype. They want to be able to tell a big story and get everybody's attention. So I'm advising you, if you're looking for information about Southwest Florida, look at the Southwest Florida news. That's where you're going to get the most accurate information. And I'm going to talk about even the home values. You're gonna hear stories about where they've gone. Well, you know what? Lee County, our home values over the last year, we're only at 24% increase. And I know you're saying only? Well, it's only because Charlotte is 38%. So there's actually places that are escalating much faster. In Charlotte County, it's probably because they started off at a lower price point and they've had to catch up. Now, if you try to go up to Punta Gorda and even parts of Port Charlotte, it's like it's priced as like Cape Coral or maybe even Fort Myers. So affordability is getting harder and harder up and down the coast. You're almost going to have to start to go inland if these prices don't work for you anymore. Now, as I mentioned, in Florida, things are a little bit different than the rest of the country. There's some markets that are just like us. Things are moving fast, prices are going up quickly. But there was a report with the Florida Realtor Association that was talking about the speed in which properties are leaving the market. And it's truly still a fast-paced, quick-moving thing, especially the nicest properties. So don't let the talk of higher amounts of pending sales and higher amounts of inventory on the market sway you towards not making a decision, because that's not the way it's going in Florida. Pay close attention to what we're doing, not what the nation's doing. Now in Florida, Governor DeSantis, he's at it again. There's a Hometown Heroes first-time buyer home purchasing plan where they give you up to $25,000 in down payment assistance. And this is going towards first responders, daycare and healthcare workers, teachers, veterans, active military. So all these people that are doing these positions, and there's a list of, I forget how many, I want to say like 100 different jobs that fall underneath this category. Just check with your lender, find out which ones they are. But we do now have a program in place that will give down payment assistance to those hometown heroes and help them get a home for themselves. Keep in mind on this program, this is just to purchase the property. If there are HOA fees, there's obviously going to be taxes and any other expenses that come by way of this property. Those are your responsibility. So this assistance is only to get you started. You still need to have the funds and the ability to carry out this mortgage once you get it. Now we're about to run into that time when we're going to have a fertilizer ordinance as well. You have to watch which types of fertilizer that you're using, if any at all. If you live on a canal, they're really restrictive of this, because what happens is that fertilizer encourages these algae blooms that we get in the canals, and it really messes with the balance of the waters. So pay close attention to these fertilizer ordinances. In fact, many stores are just going to pull any supply that they had, so you can't even get a hold of it. But if you're somebody that orders things online, look up the fertilizer ordinance and check out the percentages of different materials that can be in this fertilizer. Otherwise, you're looking forward to a big fat fine. Another change that's coming is down at the Sandoval Causeway. I told you about how they're going to convert it eventually. They're not converting it yet, and it really is like an old Florida kind of feel down there. It's amazing to back up to the water, open the tailgate, sit out there watching the sunset. It's absolutely beautiful. Well, the police are now going to be policing that area much more strictly for things like loud music and drinking alcohol. It's a state park. You're not supposed to have alcohol there. And I know that this place is used just like a beach. Many people don't even put into account that this is an actual state park. So those things that you're doing down there are going to be scrutinized a little bit more closely through the summer months. So if you want to avoid potential problems, pay attention to what they're asking you not to do. Now, Cape Coral is going to be adding 15 miles of new sidewalks around the area. And that may not sound like much to you, but we have 120 square miles here to work with, and much of it has been undeveloped for a very long time. And there's a lot of people living in neighborhoods where there's nowhere to walk but the streets. And obviously, prior to sunrise and after sunset, that can become dangerous. So they're adding all these sidewalks. They're going to do most of it within a 2-mile radius of schools. So when all those kids are deciding to walk to school, they have a place to walk safely. It's also going to be for the local homeowners. If they're going to walk their pets, again, they now have a safe place to walk. So these 15 miles of sidewalks are going to be starting to be put in this year. and it's going to be something that's going to just grow each and every neighborhood. So if you're seeing neighborhoods right now without sidewalks, just look forward to the future because there's some coming soon. All right, so that's a little bit more about moving to Florida, and don't believe everything you hear. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that you can be misled on. Just pay attention to the things that you need to know. Ask for clarity from somebody you trust if you're not quite sure of what you're hearing or reading. And again, if you need more information about moving to Florida or living in Florida, check out one of these other videos. And if you've got a specific question that you need an answer to, a situation that you're in that you want an answer to, you've got to call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.